So hello folks,
Hi there!
it's the top half of my top 100,
Oh,
50
is that
through
what we're
1.
doing?
Indeed, it's been 2 weeks
It has. It
since
feels
the
like
last
7.
time. Yeah, but I mean like I think the upper half wasn't that important, and now we get to my favorite games. The other ones were garbage.
All right.
That's, yeah.
So you're saying you wasted everyone's time. Very
Yes.
well.
Indeed.
So kind
But yeah, I tried my best. So this top 50 games really, if somebody says like let's play this game, I will not turn it down. Like these are
of you. Sounds like a challenge.
yeah. But like I mean like these are the games where some of my games in my top 100 I really do like them, but they are like depends on my mood or something like that. You know, if I'm in the mood to play that game, these games are they're like if I have time. It's like I have only 10 minutes. Of course, I will not say yes to every game. But if I have time and let's say we're on the cruise, let's say shall we play something, and you say one of those 50 games, I will say yes. Let's do that because I really like them all. They are my top 50. I should like them all.
Right.
There will be a surprise. My number 5 I hate. No. So anyway, without further ado, I think we should start with my number 50. And for that,
You sure?
first of all, yeah, we have to. For that,
Okay.
I will share the screen. And here we are. We're on the Board Game Geek. Jack Russell Memorial Fund auction. Go check it out. And we're gonna start with my top 50 game, and that's Kings of Air and Steam. This is the game I've been talking about a lot, and this is the game that I wanted to have expansion for, but the problem is that the Kickstarter failed, and thus there's no expansion, and
Yeah.
thus I felt like there were a few things that, though they didn't bother me that much, but there were some balance issues and few things like as a two-player game, it's not that exciting. I mean, like the expansion should have fixed all of those things, it seems, but what you're gonna do, they didn't fund, and so the expansion was never released, and I think it will never be, at least not with TMG. Maybe if somebody will pick this game up later on, they will publish it again, reprint it, and maybe print the expansion. Anyway, Kings of Air and Steam, pick up and delivery game. That's my choice for pick up and delivery game, basically, because I do like the setting of airship instead of just trains. And it's a usual take a good.
It's airship and trains.
Yes, yeah. They're like you use rails. You use rails, but there's no like actual. You don't feel like you're using like that much. But I mean, like this is also a programming game, and in this one you're programming your airship, how it will move, like in Robo Rally as well. Like you put the cards down, then you reveal them, and how it turns and things, and you have to kind of manage that, and that's a really cool part to program your airship. Then you take the goods, you bring them from one place to another place, and to those depots, from depots by rail to the cities, and there's that stock market. Goods are going down and up in price, and I like upgrading my airship. It's really cool how you make it. You can make it like better, faster. Carry more stuff and so on. So it's just a fascinating game. In my opinion, that just needed that little something extra, and another publisher. I don't want to say better publisher, but they need to have a publisher that really cares about such games and then do it again. My number 50, Kings of Air and Steam.
We'll see. I mean, I do enjoy the game as well, but it is definitely a game that time has forgotten.
Yeah. I hope. So let's go away from Kings of End's team, and my number 49 is another beautiful game, easy game, and that's Rise of Tribes. Rise of Tribes is from Breaking Games, is it? Yeah. And this one, though it says civilization game, it's in an easiest way possible. So in this game, you have those tribe members, and then you go in those lands, you collect the resources, you can build the villages that will give you points, and you get to a certain amount of points. It's race to the points, you win the game. Race to 15, I think. You can get points through a few other things, but mostly like, yeah, control the territories, build the villages, and so on. So there are also events and things happening to you, and you fight for the territories, but the combat is as easy as it can get. I mean, like, you just compare the troops and you take one of each player's troops until there's only one color left, and that's it. Basically, it's not like fighting. It's just, I have 7, you have 6, 7 minus 6, 1 left, I win. That's it. And
Yep.
And the dice mechanism. That's what's cool about this game. The dice mechanism, where you roll those dice and you get just the usual action, or if you get 2 of the same type, like sun, 2 of the suns or 2 of the moons, you get a more positive or lesser action, and so on. A bit of push your luck, kind of push your luck, maybe not push your luck, but a little bit of randomness and luck in that. But you can still do a few things and mitigate that. It's just beautiful. It's easygoing. It's welcoming. It's easy to teach. I like it. Really like it. That's my style of game.
Yeah, it's a good game. I haven't played it in a while, although I just got an expansion for it, so I'm sure it will come out again at some point.
Yeah. So that's Rise of Tribes, for number 49. Number 48, another really beautiful game that we did a playthrough as well a few years ago of. This one has a co-designer of. This has co-designer Bruno Catala and another designer of Treasure Island, Marc Pacien. I think I pronounced him. I don't know. Anyway, French names. But I'm talking about Yamatai, of course. Yamatai, I would say, an engine building game. And some people might argue, you're going on the board here, you like putting those ships down, and you have to be like, the thing about the ships is you're thinking about, oh, I'm putting the ships down, building a route or something, or these are the ways of transportation of the goods. No, these are the goods. Ships are basically goods, resources that you put down, and each time you put new ships down on the board, you have to start with the color of the previous ship, and that's a really cool mechanic in my opinion. And then you're building up the board with all those houses, things, whatever, temples, the usual stuff. But the cool part about this game are the specialists. So first of all, you'll kind of draft the actions and ships you can have and can do, and then you can also buy specialists which will boost all of your actions, all of the available stuff you can do, but make it even better, discounted, faster, etc. So I like that. I like how the special abilities of these specialists that you get are not in the way of the game. I mean, like, they are not some extra rules you need to learn all the time. They just make everything you already do, but just better. And that's what I like. So, and this is an engine building. Eventually you will build up an engine of like specialists and other stuff where you can do really great turns. And it pays off, it feels like that. And that's why Yamatai, and being a beautiful game as well, that's why I feel Yamatai should be really in the top of the list. And It seems like it's a little bit forgotten.
Yeah, kind of a lot forgotten. It kind of came out, and I don't know, it was sort of in a weird period, I guess, for Days of Wonder, where they kind of Yeah, had a couple of games come. I mean, they had 5 Tribes that came out, and that one was very successful and has gotten support. And then this was sort of the follow-up to that, and it went nowhere. I mean, no one really talks about it. I enjoy it. I would like to play it again sometime soon. But I remember the specialists. There was one issue I had with them, which is I think that they don't clear if they're not bought. And so, since that was one of the game end triggers, it could make things drag on if only one person was going after them. That's not a huge issue, but I remember that being something that was sort of like about the game. But other than that, I enjoyed it, and it certainly is a weird game to teach. Some of the things you do don't make a lot of sense, but but I really enjoyed it. I'll have to get it out again soon.
Look, this game, I think. Though we had one commenter here, Aquatica, they said that Z did this list of the video about the games that need an expansion badly, and this is the one that I feel like, yeah, on one hand, if it will get an expansion, it's exciting. On the other hand, I feel like this game is going to complete, and an expansion. I think it's hard to implement expansion here. Maybe more of the same, but I mean, like, what you're gonna do? It's gonna be even messier. It's gonna be even bigger. Then I think it will, take away from its elegancy.
Yeah, I think expansion would be more of those specialists, just sort of different ones to add to the mix.
Like a mini expansion.
Yeah, and then maybe I don't know. Those like bidding turn actions that you got, maybe those could be changed out to have a little bit more variability, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a corruption resource like everybody does. Like make a game and then make a corruption board. Like it's usual stuff that we do. Anyway, let's go to the next game. My next game is the one that was recently in Kickstarter, and I realized that I've sold my copy. Because I felt like this game is not supported, and I wanted to have more, and I realized that it's never going to come because this game is not so hugely popular. But as soon as I did that, basically 2 months later, here they are with the expansion, and I'm talking about World Wars. And World Wars will have a kind of a relics or something like that. The expansion was called the Relic Roadshow, something like that. Yeah. But anyway, World Wars is Storage Wars in a box, basically the show, but with magical items and magical chests and things. And I wouldn't say that I'm a big fan of bidding games. Look, there's no pictures here. I mean, like, look at that. It's just almost no pictures of the game. Nobody's playing the game, it seems. It might be true. Anyway, but I'm not the biggest fan of bidding here, but this one here works. It works in the sense of like with the, I think not Suburbia, but I think Castle King Ludwig as well, where the master is the one who can get the money, and like everybody has that turn where they get the money and then they have several turns where they spend the money. I like that idea. I like how you can look at some cards, you have like a partial information. It's always exciting for me in games. And just collecting stuff, but the content of the box was it wasn't enough. It wasn't like a high replayability, and now you will have Relic Roadshow, which adds another deck, and the second highest bidder gets something as well, which is now exciting because now 2 people get something on the turn instead of just 1 person. Everybody else loses that bid and things. And when you go to the Loan Shark, you get some like special abilities or something like special actions that you can do now with Relic Roadshow. It just spices up the things that's already in there, and yeah, that's what I wanted. So, but World Wars, I really do like the auctioning, collecting stuff, and then selling, buying, just my style of game.
Yeah, that game exists.
All right. Let's go to the next one. My number 46, and I think you will agree that it is a good game. I think it's a welcoming economic game, and I didn't know, but like I mean like I was surprised that I liked it so much because it felt like a childish game, but on the other hand, there is that buying selling economic aspect to it. I'm talking about Happy Pigs, and Happy Pigs. This is basically it's a like you have your own pig farm, and though there are cows here, oh, look at that. But anyway,
There's that animal pack with a whole bunch of different animals.
and now there is a picture of 4 different games.
5 tribes. Yeah.
Oh my God,
and,
it's like
and Agricola.
it's like they don't know how to. Okay, anyway, yeah, you can see here in the picture cute little pigs, and you need to vaccinate them and grow them, and then you sell them, etc. But the cool part of that is there is the like action selection, and each player has those tiles in their hand. They can select a certain action they can do, and each season there will be cards that are turned over, which will have like a strength of each action. Like the strength of this action is 6, and this is 5, you know, and you can go for the strongest action there and do the most. But if you will not be the only one choosing that action, then you have to split those action points between everybody. So this is like outguessing, outsmarting, which I really like. Like you want to choose something that nobody else chooses, but on the other hand, sometimes you don't want to have like a ton of. You don't need food, so but the food is the strongest action, and you're like, oh, I don't have to choose that, and I know that these two they really need to get that food, so they will go for that action. Let me go for another action. So it's like it's really cool. It's strategic. And yeah, overall a nice production, and these 2 mechanics, buying, selling, selecting actions, I like that. Happy Pigs.
I like this game. This is one. It's one that I don't ever play, but I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's hard for me to describe. Quite a few of those games, I like them maybe because they're smooth. They are not so hard to learn. They're easy to get to the table, and the mechanics. I do enjoy all of these mechanics. So that's Happy Pigs, number 46. But number 45, and this is the game I talked about in one of the previous Würfel Cast shows, and this is the game that I said I cannot put it on that other list for the reason that I haven't played it for a very long time. But in Top 100, as I told in the previous video, there are some nostalgic reasons why some of these games aren't. That is because I don't own most of these games, but they are in my Top 100 because they are still great and I would play them. So one of them is Manhattan Project Energy Empire. Mm-hmm. And though not putting this one on my top 10 worker placement games, because I couldn't really, I didn't know where it would land in a worker placement game. Like as I said in the worker placement games list, I said that how strong is the worker placement here. But in Manhattan Project Energy Empire, I haven't played it for a long time, so I couldn't really give a proper rating to that. But overall, I do remember this game being really great, and I basically remember how this game works and how you put the workers down, and then you need to put more workers than the previous owner of those meeples or the tiles put, and you can use the energy as well. You have those dice and pollution and things you need to fight basically, and it's just a tight resource management engine building game that works so smoothly, and I feel like it hits the nail, it hits the spot, you know, it's just there, it's right in the middle of such games where it's big, but it's not too big, and there are rules, quite a few rules, but they are all rather streamlined. So Manhattan Project Energy Empire, that's my number 45.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I quite enjoy the game, so it's one of those few games, well, many games, I guess, that I'm essentially always in the mood for. Although, I don't know, it's kind of been forgotten by time as well. I'll have to play it soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, I talked about it in the worker placement episode we did, because that's really what this game is it's worker placement, and it's sort of, occupying spots, but making it stronger so you can go there too, and then creating your own sort of separate worker placement area, and then a pullback turn that you can use some things on. I don't know. I quite enjoy this game here.
Yep. All right. So my next game is a game that's been really high on my list previously, like a few years ago, and I love the game. I've cooled down on the game because I do see some issues. They bother me more than they bothered me before, but I still really appreciate the game, and if you tell me that let's play this game, I will not turn it down. Okay. And that's Dead of Winter, the Crossroads game. So yeah, Dead of Winter, a trader game, because everybody's a trader. Everybody has those hidden objectives they want to do, and how they win the game as well. And it creates a lot of that inner conflict within the game. But I feel like it works here. I'm not the biggest fan of all of the modules, expansions things, the long night thing. Though, let's say, if you want to own a Dead of Winter game, that's where the problem for me is, that the long night is a better box to own overly, because you have those modules and you can put them in if you like them. Like it's all subjective. You might like them, might not like them, but there's more content like in modules and expansions. But the base box of the Winter has more characters and things. So like you want a more of the same, or you want a more module experience, that's what you should choose, But Dead of Winter, I really like how you have a little bit of luck, you roll your dice, and these are the actions that you can do, the strength of the actions, and you go and you search the decks. It's really cool to search the decks, I like that. But you always have a threat of zombies, them biting you, and then you bring that disease to your colony, and you have that death die, Though the zombies do not feel like a huge threat, everything else, like zombies plus the objectives plus the hunger and like somebody stealing your fuel, whatever, it all, you need the medicine this turn, you need that this turn, the scarce resources, this feels more of a threat than zombies, because you can kill them off all the time, yeah. But within this one, I just really like that aspect of having a colony of people and you having your own, like, a following. It's not like you control just one person, that's you. You control a mindset of people, and you do that stuff. You can have more heroes, etc., and they all have special abilities. Just the management, all of that is fun.
Yeah.
I would just like to have a second edition of this game where they tweak the trader mechanic, because if everybody's already a trader, then the traitor who is traitor, he's a little bit too powerful, in my opinion, because he can tank the game down if everybody's so selfish anyway. So yeah, I would maybe do it in a way that there's no traitor mechanic at all.
Well, that is an option as well. But I quite liked the game. When it came out, it was really just a very big hit for me. It's a kind of a fragile game, right? It requires the right group of people.
Yeah.
The Crossroads cards require everybody to be paying, very careful attention all the time.
Yeah, that's not a problem, I think.
It can be a very long game, and it can also kind of be a long game that ends abruptly, which some people sometimes find unsatisfying. It also has a few too many expansions, and by too many, I mean, Long Night is good, but Warring Colonies is not. Uh,
No,
it
I don't care about
requires
that. Yeah.
a very specific player count. So there's a lot. There are some problems with it, but if you hit all the factors right, then it's great.
Yeah, and that's where, yeah, it has highs and lows. That's why I cannot really rate it too high on my list because it just doesn't work all the time.
Right.
That's the winter, a Crossroads game. So let's go to my number 43, and this one is another game that we talked about on our worker placement list, and this is Cosmogenesis. And as I already said there, I do enjoy this game a lot because this is a different theme. Like I mean, where you get that, you create your planetary system. It's not your everyday theme. It's usually the worker placement stuff, you know. You go with the Garfield games, whatever they are. You have Vikings, you have medieval ages, and it's so boring. I don't wanna touch that. I don't wanna play that. But this one, it says you create your planetary system, and you have worker placement. And that's great. And in this one, the worker placement works in a way that if you go there first, you have more choices, but nobody can block you from having at least one of each of the different types of worker spots, you know, or the resources or whatever, the planets and things. So everybody will go everywhere anyway. You at least get one object, you at least get one comet or something like that, you know, or asteroid. You at least get one planet or a gas giant, whatever, you know. And then you build them up, and you build them up based on the objectives that you get. So basically, it's cool. You get the objective, and it says you need to have that, and that in your planetary system, or at least the size of 3 of that planet, at least one planet with life on it, and etc. So you're trying to build that up, and eventually, when you have done that, it feels satisfying. You feel like you've built a universe or something like that. That's what's so exciting about this game. Also, the cool parts about colliding the planets, which is like you collide 2 of the planets and one of them becomes smaller, one of them becomes bigger. Yeah, you collide asteroids into planet. It's scientific, you know, and the planet becomes bigger. It's cool. It's thematic. It's thematic. Wow, for such a rule set, which is not so complex. It's not a simulation game. It's a worker placement game. It's on an easy side. I mean, it's maybe 2.5, 2.7 on a BGG scale, kind of like that. It's not hard. There are some other games that, like Dead of Winter, has more rules. I mean, it just works, and I really recommend to try this one out. The problem with this one is that it doesn't have enough content to stick to it, you know. It needs more. It needs expansion. It needs more things, bigger things.
Yeah, I guess I've still not played this one, so who knows?
Yeah, but I think, by the way, this is the designer who made Fleet, or what? Yves Turinius, who is the Expedition Orpheus Passage. Yeah, that's
another
which
game I haven't played. So.
Oh, that's the game I also like. It's from Midgard, so I at some point I wanted to try the Midgard stuff. Anyway, let's go to the next game, which is also co-designed by Bruno Cathala. Oh no, sorry, it's not co-designed. It's his solo project. Sorry, and that's 5 Tribes.
Ah.
Yeah, 5 Tribes. Me being not so keen on trying this one many years ago when it came out, basically, 2014. I think it was 2014 or 15. The board game camp in Estonia, where we're like, I look at that one and I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look exciting. It's too Euro-y. At that time, I was more into like a little bit more thematic games, a little bit more less puzzly games, more random, you know, stuff going on. This one felt really strategic, just colorful meeples on the board, feels like a puzzle. And we sat down, we played it, and it was like, wow, this is great. And it's great as a 2-player game. I mean, I think it's best as a 2-player game because, first of all, and some people might not like that, but I like how you have 2 pawns you can bid with, and you can have 2 turns in a row. That's cool. Sometimes you will not. Sometimes you will. Sometimes you can. That means that you can sometimes create those really cool combos of doing this move, collecting that, getting this stuff, and then you get another move, and then you collect all of that stuff, and then you're like, oh, I have a ton of stuff now, and I have a gin, and I have this action done, etc. And this is the same. This is a kind of a. It connects spiritually with the Yamatai, and at some point I think I made a comment somewhere where I said that they are basically a mirroring image of each other. Like Yamatai is you are building up those colors of meeples, which are ships. Here you are taking that away. That's the difference. But eventually, building buildings on the tiles, basically the same. Then the bidding mechanism of turn order, basically the same. The specialists are djinns, boosting all the same actions that you already know how to do, but basically you can make them better. All the same, it is, and it's a set collection game. I just enjoyed this puzzle. I'm building up 5 tribes.
I do as well. This is a fantastic one. I've played with one of the expansions a lot. The second expansion not so much, but I really enjoy this. I really like it as a 2-player game. I'll play it as 3. I probably would say let's try something else at 4.
Yes,
but this is a great one.
Yeah,
and it's one that has gotten better the more I have played it.
Yeah, because it's so smooth, it's so elegant. It's an elegant design. But one thing I want to say as well is that bidding is cool because you're bidding with victory points. You have to be careful about how much you bid, because these are your victory points. And if you bid 20 points and on that turn you earn 8, you're going in the negative, you have to be smart.
I would not know anything about that. I always make the best bidding choices.
Sure. All right. Let's go to the next game, which is a kind of another spectrum of a game, though being a very Euro game as well, and that's Blood Rage. The Blood Rage is a miniatures dudes on the map game with cool minis, and that's the one we got from Secret Santa. When it was in Kickstarter and so on, it's like at that point I was like looking at the huge amount of miniatures and all the components. I was like, I don't know, I don't care about that kind of a game, just fighting each other. But this one is more than just fighting each other. It's managing your resources, managing your cards. I am not the biggest fan of drafting, but drafting here kind of worked, because in here every card that you chose and every card you didn't choose affected you when you gave it to your neighbor and so on. So like it kind of, you felt like it affected you directly, because this one, look, I'm gonna give away that monster because I really need that low-key power. But if I give away that monster to you, you will attack me next turn. That's how it felt. So it felt like there is some sense to the drafting mechanism going on there. And overall, it's beautiful. It's cool. You power yourself up. You go and fight for those places, and then you get boosts, and then you get to upgrade your troops and get out the monsters, etc. Make everything better, and use different strategies. The losing strategy becomes a winning strategy thing. Yeah, just works.
Yeah, I like this one too. It's not one that, I don't know, around here I sometimes feel like I'm the only person who enjoys it, but it's one that I often end up playing, for example, on the cruise or something. There's people that enjoy it, and so it looks good too. I wish my figures were painted, but other than that, I think it's good.
Yeah, and it's whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins, and that's what kind of saves it for me. Yeah, so it makes the Euro stuff, It's not like whoever destroys somebody first, that I don't like in games. Anyway, let's go to my number 40. My number 40 is also about Vikings. Because I'm all in Vikings right now, yeah. Champions of Midgard, my number 40. And Champions of Midgard, disclaimer, with the expansions. With the expansions. Without the expansions, it's not even in my top 100, I think. With the expansions, it's right up there because I do really like buying those different dice, collecting them. These are the warriors, and then you get the ships, and then you go fight the monsters across the ocean, or you fight the whatever the trolls or whatever they were in your homeland, etc. And it's a worker placement game where you are putting down the workers, collecting different resources and stuff, and trying to become even better and better and better. And the Valhalla expansion and the other expansion as well, like they all add more dice, more places to go. But Valhalla expansion mitigates the lack of you having your troops destroyed. So basically, your dice are your warriors, and if you roll badly, you lose your warriors, and that's it. It's a luck-based fighting here, combat. But the cool part about that with Valhalla is that everybody who dies becomes a token, a chit. And then you can use those to buy some other things in the afterlife, basically. Yeah, and basically it's not like you get something in return for losing your die. And that's what kind of saves the game here. But overall, a beautiful worker placement, traditional style Viking game.
Yeah.
Champions of Midgard.
No, I quite enjoy this one with its expansions. I enjoy it without them as well, although I do think that they, especially the Valhalla expansion, improve it quite a bit.
Yeah, true. The other one was also okay. The mountains.
It was okay. It's one that why would you not use it? There's really just add some more things to do, without really adding any more complexity.
Yeah. All right, so we go to number 39. Number 39, another worker placement game, but in a more complex sense. And I feel like this game, I chose one other game over this one. But, how to say, I still do really enjoy it, and maybe they will come up with a second edition, cleaning it up just a little bit. But I'll talk about Trigerian Legends of Illusion. So, the most complex part about that is just creating all those tricks, getting the what they call the components, and going into the theater, and then you're putting down those puzzly things, etc. Trying to get the most points. But this game is really that the kind of you need to be on the rails, and you go from point A to point B to get just a few points. Like it's a huge struggle to get just a few points. So it feels satisfying if you do everything right, and it feels extremely unsatisfying if you mess something up. This is not the game where you should mess anything up. The Dark Alley expansion is necessary in my opinion. The prediction and things, it just adds more kind of a variability, and kind of a loosens a little bit of those chains around your arms, when you play this game. But I do really like all the abilities and things, how you build everything up, how you manage all your stuff, the action point allowance system, basically, or you have your workers, which are different strength, and then you have outguessing, outsmarting your opponent type of mechanic where you are putting the cards down, who will go where, and then you reveal that. I really like that in games. Because if somebody will go there first, they will grab my spot. It's.
I enjoy the game, and I've enjoyed it more. The first time was a bit rough, just because there are a lot of rules, and the rules they're not always as intuitive or easy to remember. And it's not always as easy just to sort of see how things fit together. But I've enjoyed it more on repeat plays. And I got a more recent expansion for it that I have not even tried. So
Yeah, the thing about this one is that also it's not your usual magician. I mean, like the Gandalf type of game. You know, it's more of a
War of the Ring.
yeah. I mean, like it's more of. I mean, like it's the Victorian age kind of a magician show type of thing. Though there are some supernatural things going on here with those crystals. I don't remember what's the name of the crystal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's more of a real life magician thing, which I like. All right, so that was my number 39, sorry.
We're going
Trigerian
back.
Legends of Illusion. Now my number 38, and it might surprise you quite a bit, because I think you had never imagined this designer should be so high on my list, because I don't talk so nicely about this. Not that I don't talk nicely about this designer. I avoid design usually. And this game, number 38, is Cloud Age.
All right.
Yeah, and I do really enjoy Cloud Age. I realized how much I enjoy it because it hits all the spots for me regarding the mechanics. And in Cloud Age, you are going through the desert, basically not programming, but manipulating your airship so you can get resources here and fight that and get resources. Basically, fighting is basically getting resources, you know. And you're building up your airship. That's all. Like you upgrade your airship so you can get more points, but you become faster as well. You are building up this tableau of cards, which will make yourself better in things, do stuff cheaper, and I do really like the spot where you have those clouded cards, which will give you resources, and you bid on them, and you know, like I was like at first I was like, oh, it's easy. I can totally see that this will be the most resources. And it wasn't, you know. It's like it's tricky. It tricks you sometimes, but then it's a little bit push your luck. What you get, how much you get, and you get those cards into your hand, which is not really deck building. A hint to that, basically. But these are the cards that are powerful cards, and now you become powerful within your deck, and you can do stuff better and better, and so. The progression of the whole game, everything makes sense. Mechanically, at least, everything makes so much sense. So that's why I like.
Well, one thing doesn't make any sense, but other than that,
You mean the water? The separate the water energy track? Or what?
No, the thing that doesn't make sense is how. I mean, I understand why it's there for the game mechanisms, but you end up in different cities, and yet my action affects you. You know, we're investigating one city together to look for resources, even though we're in different places on the board.
Yeah. Okay, it's more thematic. Yeah, okay, yeah. I can see that. Yeah, that didn't bother me at all. I didn't even think about that.
It's fine. You just sort of say, okay, well, that's how the game works.
Yeah. All right. So my number 38, which is Cloud Age. Whoops. What's here? My number 37 is another Blood Rage type game, but I think it's a better game, and there's a new edition. I think it's on Kickstarter. It will come out soon. I don't know. Already came out, and I'm talking about Kemet.
Oh.
It's also attack other opponents. I'm showing you the older version, but basically because I haven't played the new version. But basically, there's a new version which is like a streamlined version of the game. But this one, this is Dudes on the Map game where you have those pyramids as dice, and these are the levels of things you can do. You can grab the technology tiles, and the engine building. The technology tiles are basically special abilities. You become better and better and better. You want to get to a certain amount of points, and you just fight each other, and you get those huge monsters, which are really cool to control. And not like in another game I might talk about later. In this game, when you get a monster, it's yours. It's your upgrade. You get it for the whole game now. So, but this game is huge, and the expansion, though adding really cool stuff, being a little bit overwhelming with the base game, the expansion is just, it's just so much stuff going on. It's so big on the table that it becomes overwhelming. But still, the expansion is a good addition to the game as well, with the priests and things. So, like a sidetrack, you move on.
Yeah, I like the game a lot. It does have some usability issues, right? Some of the icons are just not very clear, and then there's sort of those the various power tiles that you're buying. There's just no way to place them so that everybody can see them. So that makes that kind of slows the game down, as people are like, okay, well, what does that one do again? So I'm hoping the new edition might fix some of those problems. They're not really problems with the game, but they make it a little less fun to play.
Yeah. I also hope the new edition fixes stuff, so there's that. All right, let's go to the next game. My number 36 is a race game I talked about before, and I got the new version of that, and that's Steampunk Rally. Steampunk Rally is a race game, but it's also an engine building game and drafting game. And I'm not the biggest fan of drafting, as I told already. This one still kind of works because there is a cool decision about how you use those cards. You build them or you use them as resources, so you get resources for them. That's what I like about this one. And I like building my machinery, and it looks so cool. And you get the dice, and you put the dice on that machinery, you activate that, etc. Kind of it's almost like a dice drafting with engine building. You build the cards in front of you as your ship, but or you can also give away the cards to get the dice, which is basically like a dice drafting, in my opinion. And the racing element, it's your usual style of who finishes the game, But sometimes many players can go through the finish line, and there are some other aspects how you win the game, And I like how your machine, your airship or whatever it is, can be destroyed as well. So a little bit of the Galaxy Trucker type of thing going on there, the damage, etc. And you only have your cockpit, and then you're like alone in the cockpit, trembling there. I like that.
Yeah,
this game works for me.
I played this one as recently as last night, so this is a good one. I also got the new edition, which it's it's more stuff.
Yeah, basically more of the same. All right, so my number 55 is a little game that I appreciate a ton, because this one was a gateway for many of the people I showed it to like board gaming or showing them that it's not only like 52 cards or Monopoly. There are some other very easy, sometimes really small, but still cool games, and 35 is Red 7.
You love this game.
Yeah, but it works. It's not so highly regarded game, but to be honest, it's one of those go-to filler games. You just, it's multi-use cards. You have numbers, you have colors, you have the rules on those cards, and you play some like one or two cards on your turn, and then the next player's turn, and then you play it until everybody but one is eliminated from that round, and then you can play it again, and then you can play it again, and you can play it kind of till like there's the different ways you can play it, like just one round and that's the whole game, or you can play it for quite a few rounds till you get to a certain amount of points, etc. It just works so well. I like that very much. That's Red 7, very, very stylish, my go-to filler type game. So, and while Kyle is away for a moment due to some stuff, I'm gonna go further with my list. My number 34 is a co-op game that I really enjoyed, though I'm not the biggest fan of like two puzzly type of co-op games, but this one is Burgle Brothers. And Burgle Brothers is very puzzly in my opinion. You have basically you control the thieves and you go around different floors, but there are guards and you know kind of how they move. You can kind of predict that, and then you're trying to find certain rooms so you can activate them, get the safe, and the more stuff you get, the more difficult it is to get to the third floor, the more difficult it is to escape through the roof to the helicopter, whatever. But once you escape, you feel very much satisfied. And this game just works as a kind of a great puzzle that you need to solve, though I'm not the biggest fan, as I said.
Well, I'm excited for the new version. I hope that'll be exciting as well. So eventually it'll get here. And I remember I was quite taken with this, although I love the huge tower. So there's that.
Yeah, I didn't have a huge tower. I just have 3 of the floors laid next to each other, so it kind of is easier to look at.
It is, but the tower's more fun.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Like Everdell tree, sure. Anyway, let's go to my number 33. My number 33 is a deck building game. That's my kind of a go-to, more traditional deck building game. That's Valley of the Kings. And yeah, Valley of the Kings, though I fell in love with the initial sets. As you can see here, there's the premium version that I do have now. Let me just show you the premium version, because I think you can still get these smaller boxes somewhere, but it's not so. It's might be out of print already. But this one, this game is just about the usual deck building. You know, you get 5 cards. You can use cards as special abilities, or you can use cards as currency to buy new cards. But you buy them from the pyramid, and you can buy only the cards at the base of the pyramid. So the pyramid then crumbles, and new cards become available. So you can kind of see what future cards will be available for you. But you can manipulate the pyramid as well. You can manipulate your own deck. And the cool part about that is that you don't score all the cards that you have at the end of your game in your deck or in your hand, whatever, like usual, like the minion style, like all of these cards. So you got this stuff in your deck, you win. In here, you have to entomb the cards. So basically, you have to create a set collection there, separate from this game. Basically, you put the cards in the tomb. So that means that you will bury them. You will never use them again. Though there are a few abilities on the cards that let you get the cards back from there. But basically you cannot use them again, but they will score the points for you. And so at some point it's really cool, because you have to be really careful about that. If you will wait too much because you want to use that certain card for its ability or for its coin value or whatever, and you will not entomb it in time, you will probably not get it in your hand soon enough so you can entomb it at the end of the game, whatever. You know, it's like you have to decide when and where you will put those cards away as a scoring opportunity. That's what makes this game really, really cool, spices up the game quite much.
Yeah. Hey, I like this one too. I enjoy the new version, and I was excited to get it, so.
Yeah. So that's Valley of the Kings, my number 33. My number 32 is another, let's say, co-op game, but in a more simple manner, a puzzle game as well. That's The Last Expedition. Yeah,
yes,
The Last
you do love this game.
I do, because it's very accessible. It's rather streamlined, easy going. You have your explorers here, which are on a common pile. Basically, you use them all, and then you have the cards, and then you have to play those cards down in a certain order and they have those certain icons that activate. Sometimes you have to spend stuff, sometimes you have to throw away cards or put extra cards in there. You need to manage your resources like your food, your ammunition, etc. You have to puzzle your way out of this jungle. And the cool big cards, the streamlined rules, there's the expansion with the modules as well, which don't add too much rules to the base game, so it works. It's just a good introduction into kind of a let's work together on this puzzle.
Let's work together. Yeah, I enjoy it. The box is too small. That's I hate the box, but I like the game. It's a good. It works well solo as well.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to number 31. My number 31 is another worker placement game which I thought I will not like because it's a point salad, kind of a dry Euro game, but I still did like it a lot, and that's Russian Railroads, my number 31. And
I love this one.
Yeah, Russian Railroads is a worker placement game in a more traditional sense, but it's cool because you're also building your kind of rails. Very abstract, basically. I mean, like in a way, how you build this stuff. But the cool part about it is the building up is getting more and more and more and more. You know, it's you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you kind of get to a huge amount of points, like 300, something like that, and then you're like, whoa, I got a huge amount of points. That's why I like this game. It lets you kind of get loose. It lets you go all the way to huge amounts of things you already have or will have. You feel like you've built something huge.
The scores can be a little excessive, right? You know, it's usually 500 to 498 or something like that. But you really kind of pick something and say, I'm going to try this game, and just go for it. So,
yeah. All right, my number 30 is a game that's not so mechanically strong, and you might be really surprised that it's so up here, but that's the thing. I'm looking for the fun factor, and if it gives me a lot of fun, because maybe I play it with a certain group of people, and we do that, it's just so much fun, and that's Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. So yeah, you might be, you can be surprised.
Exists.
Yes, you can be surprised, but yeah, that's a really cool picture. But anyway, this is your traditional deck building game, cooperative as well. You just get the cards and you fight the villains, and then you get more cards and fight the villains and blah blah blah. You need to get through all of that. But it's nostalgic reason because the group I play with, we are all Harry Potter fans. So within this group, it works just super perfectly. We get the quotes. We remember the movies. We put the Harry Potter soundtrack on when you play that. You know, it just creates the mood, and it's great way of cooperating within this kind of a theme. It just works. The whole package. It just that's the fun factor here that kicks in, not strong mechanics. Mechanics are okay. If that would not be Harry Potter and that particular group, then it wouldn't be on my top 100.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean, individual mileage may vary. I enjoyed the game just fine, but I found it kind of forgettable.
All right. So my number 29 is a game that you will agree on being a really cool game. That's Aquatica, my number 29. Aquatica is a kind of a like deep waters themed card game, which has this cool mechanism of tucking cards underneath your player board, so you can use them as like actions, and you can do them in any order basically, and you are having this kind of a roll cards. What they are basically action cards that you play down, and eventually you can pick them up and then play them again, but you can get the new ones into your deck and stuff. So upgrading yourself and doing things even better and better and better, you're searching for the combos. You're searching for the bigger turns that you can do. The theme is maybe there, maybe not. It's rather abstract. But the card play, the intersections between different parts of the game, they are really great. I'm not the biggest fan, maybe, of the. I mean, these objectives.
Yeah.
If there would be more or something else, something extra, maybe the expansion will add something extra to that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is that sort of module where you can have different objectives, which makes it a little more interesting. But yeah, I like the game too. I find it interesting. I find it charming.
Nice. All right, so here we go to number 28. My number 28 is a two-player game that I introduced it to, by the way.
Oh,
Kind of introduced it to
not
because
that
I heard. No, I heard about this game in Essence, so I was like, oh, that's that game, and you were like basically instantly interested, and then you tried it out, and you were like, oh, that's cool. We're talking about Combo Fighter here.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was
so-
definitely. This was one I tried at Gen Con and immediately went online and just bought.
Yeah, the first time I saw it was the previous year Essen. So when they showed me that one, still in like progress, and then in Gen Con there was more game already in it. So, but in this game, as you can see, this is a fighting game. You have rock paper scissors mechanic, where you are each just choosing one card, putting it down, revealing it, and whoever beats the other player, like in a rock paper scissors style, can then do the combos, can play extra cards so you can deal more damage, and your damage is counted with your deck. Basically, your deck of cards that you use is your damage as well, and it's so fast, it's so easy going. 2 cards down, reveal some combos, boom, next turn. Put the cards down, reveal some combos, boom, next turn, and you can activate your kind of a rage modes, whatever the special modes, and you can talk back and forth between those and things, and there are the different fighters, different styles. You have to manage your deck and your cards a little bit differently each time. This is the game that just needs a ton more. I mean, like, it needs a plethora of different fighters,
Yeah,
and
about
then you
twice
will
as
be
many.
satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a great one.
Yeah. All right, let's go to my number 27. My number 27 is a different style game that I would also play, I think, maximum with 2 players. I'm not a solo gamer, that's why I would probably play with 2 players, but that's the 7th Continent. And this is a different style game because this is all about exploration. This is exploration, the game. You go through those different tiles and reveal new stuff, and then reveal new stuff, and then, I don't know, just try to survive on this island. It's hard to describe it. It's just exploring the narrative, exploring the island, exploring the tiles, and having encounters which will kill you. So yeah, something like that, Yeah, some
No,
content.
this is a fine game, and I remember something. I think the play time is 5 to 1,000 minutes, and I've seen games that have lasted both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, true to that. All right. My number 26 is a beautiful game where each card is a separate illustration. Each card is unique illustration, and that's Museum. And disclaimer here as well with the expansions, because the expansions add different modules that you can mix in, pull them out, whatever, however you like, basically. But I do really enjoy the game because it's very beautiful, and I like the simple set collection. It just works for me. Sometimes I just like simple games, and I like this trading mechanism. So you can you pay the cards in order to put the cards into your museum and score them, and then you have your own kind of a tableau of the cards that you paid with, and you can grab the cards from there by paying other cards, or you can buy cards from another player's reserves, etc. So by paying them And this manipulation of cards rotating between the different spots on the board, that's really cool. And then you have some special abilities, you can have some specialists to become even better. It's on an easy side. You have the expansions like the black market where you can get a lot of take that cards. It might not be for everyone. It might not be for me if I'm in a certain mood of not like really wanting too much take that in the game. Then black market is a little bit, you know. But there are some other expansions. Remember, the Archaeologists is cool expansion because it limits your ways of how you can get the cards from the central board, which is cool. Then you have to build up more, you have to strategize more. Or you have the separate scoring mechanism where you basically, instead of making your own set collection on your museum, and which you do as well, you are having a separate set collection board where you have to put the cards in certain order, and everybody can contribute to that, but whoever contributes the most gets the most, you know, etc. So all of those modules, by manipulating all those cards and basically evolving around all that set collection, I feel Museum is worth trying, at least.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I've told you before, the sort of the way you store the cards on the board and trying to fill in those slots kind of doesn't work. It just sort of, it's very... It's easy to bump something and move it, and it's not very clear where the things line up. That's the only part I didn't really like about it.
I don't know. I just maybe I understood the way how to look at that, so it doesn't bother me at all. I don't know. But yeah. All right. So my number 25 is another game that I talked about a lot because that's why it's here. I mean, like that's why this game is so high. Because I feel like this game is amazing and I would love to get the expansion, but it seems like this game is not so popular that it will get one. But maybe someday. The Green Masquerade. I mean the Green Masquerade. It needs more characters. It needs something extra, something more. The modules that you can have already in the base box are so easy to put in that you just play with those modules as like being in a base game, you know. But this is a deduction game. You each have a role. You get one of those characters, and they have the artifacts they like. They have the artifacts that they don't like. They don't want to get the artifacts they don't like. Otherwise, they will be exposed. If you're exposed, you're out of the round. You're trying to get a certain amount of roses, and you can win the game then if you have the most roses. But it's extremely easy. You draw two cards, two artifact cards, and one of those will go to you, and one of those you have to give to somebody else. And you're trying to deduce and trying to uncover other players and stay hidden yourself. As easy as you can get. Extremely beautiful. The box is not too big, so it's rather portable, but it's like it's a bigger box, but it's like it's not the usual ticket right size box. So it just fits every group I played with. Everybody likes this game.
Yep, even I liked it.
Good. Amazing. Let's go to my next game, another beautiful game. And maybe the beauty of it and the components, I like great production, and it adds a lot to the fun factor that I have on the table while playing this game. And that's Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef, my number 24. Tidal Blades it's an easy game. You do the challenges by rolling the dice so you can match the symbols. Basically, you have your worker placement. You go to that location so you can get the die. You can go to that location so you can get the fruits or the shells or whatever it is, the resources. It's rather streamlined worker placement. Or you go here, you fight a monster. You have to overcome the challenges. Each time you do all of this stuff, you progress within your skills. Basically, your like a skill dials, which will give you more points at the end of the game, which is basically whoever gets the most points wins the game, but also will give you access to more dice. You can refresh more dice. You can get more special abilities. You can get better rewards if you get the trait cards, etc. So, yeah, but it's a really easy going. This worker placement is straightforward. The marketplace is straightforward. The challenge is just roll the dice, match the symbols. It can't get easier, but it's so beautiful. Yeah. It works so well.
I enjoy it. I don't love it like you do. I've kind of seen some of the cracks. For example, it's not really a two-player game. It just really doesn't work.
No, yeah.
And yet it sort of says that it is. And some, some of the organization of the way things are is a little bit, but look, I enjoy the game. I just don't love it like some people do.
Yeah. And the cool part about that is
its
that
box size is ridiculous.
It is the deluxe version. I mean, the deluxe version is ridiculous. But I mean, like this one is the cool part about that is that you can also upgrade your dice, so your dice become better as you go forward. So
yep,
that's nice. Anyway, number 24, Tidal Blades. Let's go to number 23, another game that just doesn't work for everybody, and I tell people stop comparing it to its, you can kind of say that it's kind of spiritual successor to Archipelago, but stop comparing to Archipelago because it is not. It's a different game, and that's Living Planet.
Okay.
Living Planet is an economic game because you have to get the most, money gives you a ton of points basically. Yeah, the few other things give you points like buildings and things. The most points you can get, if you get a ton of money, you win the game basically. Yeah. So that's an economic part of the game, and that's really important. But this game, you are exploring the island or whatever it is, the planet. It's not the island, but the planet. You're exploring the hostile planet, and there are some tornadoes and the earthquakes going on as well. And you manipulate all the stuff through the cards, which are the dice cards. And each turn, every player will put down a card and then reveal. That's what die you will choose for yourself. And that's the die that will activate some of those tornadoes and earthquakes and etc. And that's how many action points you get, etc. So a multi-use die basically, going on there. And what resources, what construction buildings or what the factory buildings will activate as well. So that means what resources you will get. It's so interconnected with each other that I really like that. And in this game you have to be careful about thinking that I will build myself up as big as I can. In this game you will lose stuff. In this game you have to come here, build this stuff, mine as much as you can, run away, build stuff somewhere else because this one will be destroyed, or you can try to make it a safe spot. But basically you cannot really get stuck in a certain place. You cannot become big. You always have to adapt and build new stuff and kind of reclaim and things. So yeah. Living Planet, great.
Living Planet, not Archipelago.
Not Archipelago.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I've not really even played with the expansions that came with it. And I don't know if it was a huge hit, but it's a fine game.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge hit, but I do really enjoy it. The more I play, the more I enjoy it. And one thing about Archipelago, the biggest problem Archipelago has, that this one doesn't have, is the end game. End game conditions.
True. Which is also the best feature of Archipelago, but that's...
Nah.
Anyway, that's a debate for another time.
All right. So, my number 22 is another Dudes on the Map, and that's a spiritual successor to Blood Rage. I'm kind of in the same series as Blood Rage.
Oh, Rising Sun? Who knew?
Rising Sun. I'm sorry. And Rising Sun is basically Dudes on the Map. You get a ton of, I don't know if I can get the picture basically, but there's all those painted miniatures. Whoa, how cool. I don't care about that. But anyway, in Rising Sun you have your troops, you have these different lands that you are putting the troops down, and then you have a mechanism where you are choosing an action from the different actions you can have, and then if you choose the action, you get that action plus the bonus of that action. Everybody else gets to follow you, to do the same actions, but they will get it without the bonus. So that's cool about that. And then you just also grabbing new cards, better cards, so you can upgrade yourself. You can get the monsters out, fight for each regions. But the cool part about it is also that not all of the regions will be activated each turn, which means that only certain regions will have battles in them. Even if you have troops, both of you, you're safe until this region is activated, and we'll have a battle opportunity there. And then the battle itself, how you bid the coins on those different pre-battle actions, like taking hostage or whatever, or doing the it's called the support. No, how that's called? Basically, yeah, abandoning the battle, retreating or whatever they are. Different things.
Oh, when you
can
kill
do.
yourself.
Yeah.
Seppuku action.
Seppuku action. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So
when
all,
you kill
all this.
yourself.
Yeah.
Abandoning the battle. I don't know that that's quite the right term.
I didn't want to say killing yourself, so that's not
abandoning the battle.
basically. Yeah, that's how I do.
Okay.
Into the heaven. Anyway, and cool part about that one as well are the special abilities of different clans. Like in Blood Rage, you are all basically the same, and how you build yourself up, that's who you become. Here, you already have a special ability from the start, and that's where you are pushing forward to, you know. So, Rising Sun, my number 22. Nothing to say. All right.
Oh, well, I already laughed at you for Seppuku. I quite enjoy Rising Sun. I have spent way too much money on it. I have the nice painted figures. I have the nice huge box. In fact, I was thinking, I have people coming over today. I was thinking, maybe I should set up Rising Sun, because this is one that I'm always in the mood for.
And half an hour later, you're still set up in the Rising Sun, and then people already left.
Unfortunately. Well, I have to set it before people come. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, true. All right, my number 21 is a game that you will agree on that it's a great game. It's a great next step game. I want to say it's a family game. It's a bit too difficult for the non-gamers, in my opinion, to grasp it first. But that's Wingspan. Wingspan, about birds.
You hate Wingspan? What?
I hate Wingspan. Everybody knows Wingspan. It's birds. It's engine building. There are.
I don't know if you're allowed to have this below 20 on your list.
Yeah, the real birds here. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that's not a feature in the game.
Depends. Anyway, yeah,
That's
you can see
Trigerian.
here. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. In this one, you're building up your engine. You are putting down those birds. You're playing those birds. You can getting more food, so you can play more birds, etc. So it's all interconnected with each other. You put eggs on them, and then you score them as well, and you get the. You're trying to score the objectives as well, so you can get more points. So that's that. You know, managing all that stuff. But the cool part about that is that when you activate a bird, then every bird in that row will activate its ability if it's a brown ability, basically. You know, so you can have a really cool row of different abilities chaining with each other. You know. Mm-hmm. Oh, this one gives me an extra resources, but the next one says if I put the resource source on it, I will score more points in the game. Whatever, you know, just saying that. Yeah. So yeah, Wingspan.
Look, I love Wingspan, but I think the next expansion needs to be a box that holds everything, because what I have is already, it's in 3 boxes. It's just there's no room for all the stuff, but I really do love the game.
I do have the insert,
also a game
though.
That,
I do have the insert.
I have one too, and I also have both expansions, and they are not all fitting in one box.
I see. I only have the European expansion. I didn't pull the trigger on the Oceania expansion because I still have a lot in it. I will buy it eventually, but
Of course you
when
will.
I saw it, I wasn't so keen on that expansion. I don't know why.
You haven't played Wingspan? Oh my goodness. We have a...
Yeah.
Shocking. You better hurry
Anyway.
before somebody finds out. That's in response to a comment, sorry.
You better not hurry. You better watch out. Da, 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 da. Okay, so anyway, Wingspan. And my top 20 now. What's
All
going
right,
to be?
let's go.
My number 20 is Mission Red Planet, second edition. Though, I think when you talk about Mission Red Planet, you never talk about the first edition anymore. I mean, like, what's the point?
Well, I mean, it's not that different, right? I mean, it's just the second edition's better. It has figures that you can use rather than discs that roll around. But the gameplay isn't really different.
Yeah. But the cool part about Mission Red Planet is that you have your roll cards and you're trying to outsmart, I guess, your opponents. You are all putting cards down at the same time, and then you're activating them from the highest number to the lower number. And the lower number might have a more stronger action. But it's a lower number, so at the time when it will activate, it might not be beneficial to you anymore, because the state of the board changes a ton before it gets to you, you know. So I just like that aspect, and it's an easygoing area control. You put the troops down there, you're trying to get the most of your troops so you can get the crystals from there so you can score the points. And I really like how you put those meeples, those miniatures, onto those ships, and then when they fill up, they fly up there to the Mars, and sometimes you can blow up the ships, and you know I like that. I like how there's a ship full of people and then you blow it up, and there's none of your dudes up there. So it's the most satisfying in that way.
Yeah, this is a fine game, and it's one of the few games that I'll actually play at the max player count. So I remember. Did I teach it to you in Estonia, or had you played it before? I knew there were some people in that game who hadn't played it before.
No, I played it like
okay, you had
quite long before, yeah.
All right. Well, no, this is a good one.
Yep. All right, let's go
Not
to
with two,
number. No. You played. I mean, this is a sweet spot with 4. I think 5. I think 6 might be a little bit like 6 is. It's fine. It works. It works, but it's just more chaos with 6. So my number 19 is another game that I talk about a lot, and it was in my top 10. But it has fallen because there are a few other games that also do the engine building well, and this one just doesn't have the aesthetics and doesn't have one of the okay. So it's Homesteaders, yeah. Yeah, and Homesteaders does have an expansion, but the expansion of Homesteaders isn't a huge expansion that adds a ton of stuff. It adds a little bit of stuff. So that's where I feel like I would have loved to have more and more. This game needs as much stuff as possible, in my opinion.
Sure is gorgeous looking. I can totally see why you'd put it higher than Wingspan.
It seems like this is one of the older version of some other version of the game, but you get the idea anyway. So, but I like the engine building. I like getting those different. This is the older version, as you can see here. But I like getting the buildings so you can get more and more, and you're using your marketplace, manipulating that so you can get more of those different stuff as well. So just building yourself up to the max. That's what's cool about this game, in my opinion. I don't know what else to say.
I played it with you. It is not a very good looking game. It is an enjoyable game though, but it's I think it kind of feels a little old. Is I guess my issue with it. Maybe if I add the expansion in, I'll like it better, but it just kind of feels like it's showing its age. Yeah,
the expansion adds a few more buildings. It adds a tiny rule about the auction thing and winning stuff, but it also adds the event track. So each turn you will have an event going on. It spices up the game, but not too much, you know. But it's engine building the game.
Okay.
Basically, that's all you do. Don't look for theme here. All right, my number 18 is a game that you can see is higher than Homesteaders, because I feel it fulfills some of the stuff that Homesteaders doesn't, and because it's already aesthetically more pleasant to watch, to look at, and that's Black Angel.
I wouldn't go with aesthetically more pleasant. I think it's about, a shift sideways. I think this game is very garish, but there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you put the Homesteaders and this one next to each other, what people will look at more? What people want to play more? Black Angel or Homesteaders? Black Angel feels...
Definitely this one.
yeah, that's what I say. It's more pleasant than Homesteaders, yeah. But it's not as beautiful as like Tidal Blades or something like that, But anyway, Black Angel, it's a collection of like 3 mini games, because you have your space where you put the mission cards out. These are like worker spots basically. You have your own grid of those technology tiles that you are inserting and then activating them, etc. This kind of stuff, and putting the cards down so you can activate rows or columns as well, which is I like as well. Like, it's basically like multi-use of cards as well going on here. And the central board, which is a worker's spots, basically the main worker spots, and you use the dice. And you use the dice to do those worker spots. And the strength of a die is strength of the action you can do. And when you roll those dice, sometimes you don't roll so well, but you can manipulate that. You can grab somebody else's die as well. So the overall package here is just a well-connected, well-oiled machine of different mechanisms interconnecting with each other. But thematically, maybe something's there. I'm still searching for theme here, but the game works well. Yeah, the game works well.
I like it. It's one that, I don't know. I was really excited when it came out, and then nobody wanted to play it, and then I told people it's just like Troyes, and then the Troyes people liked to play it and said, well, it's too complicated. I want to go back to Troyes. But anyway, I like it.
It's on a heavier side indeed, but I wouldn't say that it's too complicated.
Oh no, well, it's just it takes the Troyes piece, which is sort of that die bidding and the sort of the central board, and then it adds the Selenia piece, which is that sort of moving around on that ship that's moving forward. And they didn't like that part. I like that part. But
yeah, I can see that. As I told you, these are like almost like 3 mini games combined. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. My number 17. It's kind of like a placeholder to not the system, to the genre of games. But I chose a particular one that I think I enjoyed the most, and that's Unlock. And I'm talking about escape room games overall as well, because I enjoyed very many different systems of escape room games, but Unlock has been more consistent with its, let's say, with its scenarios and things, and they have a ton of different boxes. So I'd say Unlock, but there's like, each Unlock has its own kind of a name.
Sure.
And each box has 3 different scenarios. At first, I think in US, you had each scenario as a separate box. But in Europe, it was from the start, you get the... from the start, you get 3 scenarios in just one bigger box, and that's it, So, but in this one, you have those cards, and there are some like illustrations and puzzles and stuff, like the exit room, basically, but it uses the app as well. And things they have done with the app, it's just really cool. There are so many ways they have used the cards, the app, how you combine the cards, how you, what you do with the app, what you do with your phone, etc. I'm not going to spoil anything, but the way they have done this, they have done really smart, cool things. It's the most consistent of the escape room games, in my opinion. Most flavorful.
I might have to, like I've said, I've kind of gotten over this style of game, but I've heard good things about some of the more recent ones, so maybe I'll have to pick it back up and give it another try.
Yeah, I'm also kind of tired of those games a little bit, but I mean, like, when I get back to something, I will get to Unlock.
Okay.
I've just played I mean, like I probably played like of all of the systems, different systems. I probably played maybe 30 or 35 different escape room games. So, like or scenarios, let's say. So yeah, I played a ton. All right. So my number 16 is a more recent game, but I think this game made me look at this designer, and now I want the other this designer's games into my collection, or at least try them, because I feel like he's really good. And that's Merv, the Heart of the Silk Road. And Merv it's basically a Euro game with, yeah, it's a Euro game, yeah. One. I mean, like it's a puzzle game.
Unqualified, it's definitely one.
Yeah. But this one, don't look for a theme here, but look for really cool mechanisms. So this one reminds me a little bit of Five Tribes, the central mechanism where you are putting your meeples down because you are choosing. It reminds me of Five Tribes in a way that you are trying to choose a particular action in the grid of those tiles. That reminds me of that. I'm not saying that Five Tribes is the same as Merv. They're different games.
Okay.
But that's how I see it. And then you're building those houses on those different grids on those different tiles, and eventually the more houses you have in a row or column that you're activating, the more resources you're getting, etc. So building this mechanism of getting resources, and then you have those mini games. You use the resources to move the camels on the left side, so you can get the bonuses. You are using resources to buy the luxury, so you can get the objectives done, which give you a ton of points. Or you using your meeples to and resources to go and get the more scoring opportunities, or more spice cards, which are set collections, which give you scoring as well. So you have different scoring opportunities. So here you can do this, here do that. It's all connected into the central board where you need to have your well-oiled machine, how you get resources and what actions you choose. But there are those barbarians, whatever they are, they are attacking you. Yeah, but barbarians attacking you, and you need to defend your buildings, so you build the walls as well. And sometimes you can build a wall that will protect another person, but as you build them, you get bonuses of movement on that particular track, which might help you in the future. So helping another person will help you more in the future as well. So it's win-win for everybody. So Merv is just a cool bunch of mini games, mechanisms. Yeah. I don't know.
I like it a lot. I was surprised you did. I mean, I knew I would, because this is obviously the kind of game I often enjoy. I don't think it's a very good-looking game, and I wish it had some, maybe better player aids, kind of things like that. But I really like it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to my number 15. And my number 15 is another game which kind of fits that kind of a genre of escape room games, but let's say exploration story games, let's say like that. And that's Time Stories. And you would say, why is Time Stories so high on my list? And some people have recently really hated Time Stories quite much. I haven't played the newest, the Midsummer, whatever the second series, the second scenario of the new series of Time Stories, the Blue Cycle, whatever. I don't remember anymore. But I played the Hadal Project recently. I played all of the Time Stories scenarios, the initial one, the base one, the White Cycle, how it's called. And then I played the Hadal Project. And Hadal Project has revived Time Stories for me. And look, you might not like all the scenarios of Time Stories, but the fun factor, the exploration, and the all of the story and cool parts, and maybe not some cool parts, it's all a part of the story. It's all part of the experience that I had. And I can totally say that I had great experience with Time Stories overall. I've experienced many great things. I've experienced cool revelations and things. So it just works for me. And it can be a drag, a huge drag with those runs. But the Halo project has the new mechanism of crystals, which repair that Groundhog Day stuff for me, where I have to reset the deck again and again and again. There you kind of need to reset it again, but if you do it smartly, you will never have to reset. If you do it really smartly, then you will be fine. You will go through the story all the time. And the crystals just saved it for me. That's why it stays on number 15 on my list. Because the last scenario brought back the faith in Time Story series. And I don't know. It might not be everyone's... You might not like it, but I do. I think it's a great story game.
Look, I had a great time with it. I think we played through 3 of the scenarios. I really enjoyed those, but then it kind of just the cracks began to show, and it's the sort of having to do the same thing over and over again. Really ended up kind of making me think, there are many other games that allow me to explore and experience without so much repetition. That and the expansions were way too slow coming out. Right, you would come out, and then it would be like 5 months later, another scenario would come out, and then you'd have to relearn all the rules. And I don't know. This one fizzled out for me.
True that, yeah. But I look through all of those cracks and just enjoy the game as it is. All right, so my number 14 is another game that I wasn't sure if I needed this one because it's 4X, and I don't really want to have... I don't like getting 4X games onto the table is hard enough because they have a ton of rules, a ton of components, and not all people like conflict in games as well. But I'm talking about Empires of the Void 2 or 2nd edition. Empires of the Void, this one is a 4X game I can totally play. As you can see, it's my number 14. Because in this... Oh, this is the old picture. But in this one, in this game, first of all, you are exploring those different planets. You can recruit the troops and you can fight with those planets, so you can gain control of them, or you can do that diplomatically as well. And you have the event cards going on there as well. And you are building up your engine, your own engine, your own player board, so you're getting some of the resources, so you can upgrade yourself and make your actions cheaper and better as well, etc. Technologies. So, yeah, basically building yourself up as an empire, controlling those different regions, and the fighting here, for me, is satisfying because when I fight you and I lose, I don't lose my troops. I just I retreat.
Sure.
That's what I like. I don't want to because if by some sheer luck of a die or whatever, sheer luck of me not having certain cards in my hand, and you have drawn those really stronger cards, the stronger cards, then I would lose all of my troops. That feels frustrating, and that would ruin the game for me. But in this one, I lose, you take all the control, but I have a chance to go and get it back. But maybe by the time I try to go back, you will build up even more defense there, It's all balanced. So, Empires of the Void, beautiful game, and a great 4X experience for me.
Yeah. I finally, after several years, I don't know how many years, but finally got it played, and I really enjoyed it. I had played the first one way back in the day, but this one's really good. I think this one's better, but I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it, and I would love to play it again soon. Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 13. Number 13, another game with tons of components, huge board, tons of rules, but a very fun game. That's Anachrony. And Anachrony is a worker placement game in its core, and once you get through the rules, it's not... Core. What?
At its power core.
Oh, it's power, okay. Okay.
That's the resource you have to use to place the workers?
Sure. Yes. Anyway,
That was really funny. I mean, I'm going to quit my job and become a stand-up comedian, I think. Sorry.
yes, a not so well. Yeah. Anyway.
An
Yeah.
unsuccessful stand-up comedian.
I mean.
Thank you.
Okay. So.
Anyway, Anachrony.
Anyway, Anachrony is is a worker placement game where the cool part about that is that you can have as many workers as you want. So usually worker placement games have a limit of like 2 workers, 3 workers, maybe 4, and you get them as you progress in the game. This one, as you progress in the game, you can have a ton of different workers, and they are used to. It's like the Manhattan Project type of kind of a worker collection here. And you have your own board where you place the workers down, and then you have the middle board where you need to use mechs, and this is the kind of a mech upgrade expansion. But I mean, like I got it from the Kickstarter, so I got the mechs right away. But I think those mechs are necessary, kind of. They help you out. But anyway, yeah, you need to use those mechs because the Earth is not survivable anymore, and need to go to those worker spots in those mechs, and then you get more workers, more resources, whatever else you can get, trading, water, etc. And you're building yourself up, and then you also have this kind of a timeline that goes through. You can borrow resources, but then you have to go back into the past to give those resources back to the past self, so you will not get any negative points or cracks in the time and space or whatever it is. So you're trying to maximize everything, and that's cool. And then you build the super projects which will give you really cool abilities, etc. And this one has modules in the base box already and some expansions, and it has so much stuff in it that you will play it till the end of your days. I mean, like, you still will not probably learn everything. No, I'm kidding, but I mean, this game has a ton of content, a ton, just too much content in my opinion. But yeah,
Lots of expansions. Lots of expansions.
And
finally, a big box that can hold them all.
Yeah, that can destroy your shelf. I think if you put it on the wrong side, it might just
I guess.
fall with the shelf. Anyway, Anachrony, that's a great. It seems to be heavy, but it's really not extremely heavy. Once you get into it, it's rather straightforward worker placement. Iconography, by the way, I like iconography here. Makes sense.
Lots of it does. It takes a little while, but eventually you get there.
Yeah. All right, so my number 12 is another game that looks bigger and more complex than it is, and that's The Lost Ruins of Arnic. Another game of recent publishing, let's say. And Lost Ruins of Arnic is a worker placement deck building game, and in this one you do both of that stuff, and how you do the deck building is different from the traditional style of deck building. And I really like how you open new worker spots, and you need to fight the monsters, basically give them resources so they will come and work for you, so you can use them as bonuses as well. And then you can use the research track. You can get the assistants, which are like extra free actions, and basically you can approach different ways. You can do more exploring. You can build up a really cool deck of cards or add artifacts which are really cool. Or you're trying to build yourself up so you can constantly have all of those resources. You can go up on the research track and get a ton of points there. This is a Euro game that works in many different ways and pleases the different folks which want different stuff to do in the game.
This is a great one. This was a great game. I was excited to get it last year. I played it a bunch of times. It works well with all player counts, including solo. It's just very good. Very good.
And I'm looking forward to whatever expansions come out for this game.
Sure. There was supposed to be some solo campaign expansion that's been mentioned online, and I think even in the rule book, but it still has not been developed as far as
Yeah, I looked at the forums and it says that CGE has announced that they will talk about the upcoming expansion for this game in spring, so
Okay.
in the future. So there will be something announced
Good.
soon, I hope. All right, my number 11, one before 10.
One
which
before
is,
10. That is what 11
is 11, yeah. That's turning to 11 with First Class, all for the Orient Express. And First Class is another kind of a similar type to like Russian railroads, where you're just building yourself up as much as possible, getting a ton of points, and yeah, it's doesn't have a ton of theme, but it has a ton of modules, let's say, and you can mix and max those modules and find your favorite ones and have a slightly different game each time. Depends on what you mix and match, you know. And I like drafting from the center of the board. I like that drafting much more than drafting from like each other's hands, you know. Like, so in this one, you try to build your train on one side, like your whatever they got, the wagons, whatever they are, and then build the route.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, build the route on the left side as well, because it gives you quite a few strong bonuses. I mean, like, it's just a bonus.
Oh, it does.
thing.
It's good. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
And it's so satisfying when you get this chain reaction going. There are some turns where you doing that stuff gives you access to that stuff, and you use my coin to activate that bonus. You can get that stuff, and this one leads to that, so you can get this bonus now. And eventually, like, you have 0 wagon cards, and then you have like 12, like as you can see here, yeah, you have like 12, 4, and 2, but you started with zeros, all of them, but you did a like one turn which is really long. And that's sometimes that's one of the things that might bother you if you play a 4-player game, that the turns might be a little bit too long if the player finds that sweet spot of chain reaction. So it's a satisfying combination of mechanics that you do, how you build stuff up, and you get like 300 points as well here. So
Oh yeah.
it is satisfying.
I really like the game. I have 2 problems with it. First problem, the cards are too small. But the second problem, that scoreboard. Why does it? I mean, for a game where you're going to be going into the 300 or 400 points, why is it a 50? Why does it only go to 50? It
Don't
just
ask me.
Makes it more
I don't know.
complicated.
Maybe they were thinking about, there are people who will look at the board which is 300 and they will get only 50. They will feel bad about that. That's not so good.
A board that went to 100 would make the addition a little bit easier, right? It's just
Yeah, I think
the amount of points you're scoring, doing it on a base 50 system is
You get at least 100. You get at least 100. You have to be really bad at this one. You need to just do nothing to get 50 points.
That's a stupid complaint about the game, but that is something that's bothered me in the past.
I can see that, yeah. All right, so now we get to the top 10, and my number 10 is another game which has worker placement, which has story elements, which has great art and components, and it's just a great game.
Is it Agricola?
It's near and probably far from Agricola. Near and far, yeah. It's very far from Agricola, yeah.
Yes,
and
it is. It's very far from Agricola.
Disclaimer with the Amber Mines expansion. It just
Which
fixes.
I finally played, by the way.
You did?
Yeah, my
Nice.
friend was visiting, and we played through the whole campaign, and we used the Amber Mines for the second half.
So it is good.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. Doesn't change the
So-
game that much, but it's pretty good.
I mean, like, it changes the spot where the mining goes. You know,
Makes it
the
more
mining in the
interesting.
base game is just boring, but the mining with the Amber Mines is much cooler. You kind of discover stuff as you go. But this one, yeah, you have your kind of like workers, which are like the characters. They're not workers, but they are your characters that you use to progress through different story elements, because they're like for the skill checks, etc. you build yourself up, you get more cards, you become even better, have cooler abilities. Then you go explore the map and build up the tents there and go to those book tokens so you can read the story a little bit, do a little bit of push your luck, and go through the skill check and then get something cool. Some of those stories, though, if you choose a particular stuff, they will come and bite you later on. They're like a little bit of the legacy element, not the legacy, but like the campaign element going on there. So some of those, yeah. But the worker placement is also rather streamlined. I mean, you get bread here, you get a kiwi bird here, or whatever it is. You get extra stuff here, you get cards here. I don't know, it just, the whole package is just so beautiful, so consistent. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I really like this game. This is a good one.
Yeah, I just love it. It's every time I take it out, it works. All
and
right.
I enjoyed the campaign, right? I mean, that was a good way to play it.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. So my number 9 is another game which fits the category of story games, and as you can see, I do really like my story games, and that's Chronicles of Crime. And Chronicles of Crime, though being a kind of a deduction game, but it is a deduction game with the app as well, where you use the mobile phone in order to scan the different QR codes. So that means that you want to go to that location, scan that QR code. You're in that location now. You might discover something, or you scan the human being, yeah, because there's a dog as well. There's monkey as well. There was gorilla. There was a gorilla in some scenario, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Anyway, but you scan people here, and you scan other people to ask about them, etc. So this mechanic of scanning all the stuff, it might be annoying at some point to scan all the stuff, but on the other hand, the story is so engaging that you forget about that you have scanned 100 cards already, because the story and the 3D scenery the crime scene that you see in 3D, that's okay. That's cool. That's a cool gimmick. First few tries,
gimmick.
But yeah, but first few scenarios it's cool, but then eventually it's all right. But you really go into the story. You start speculating. You speculate so much. You start like pulling the lines. Like, okay, so here this one. Wait. What was her motive, or what was his motive here, or did they go there? How did this happen? It makes you speculate. It makes you discuss so much with your teammates you play with. And the solutions, the stories, they're great, to be honest. I mean, like, they're well written. I mean, like the crimes.
Yep.
They are a good mystery. Yeah. And I played the noir. I played the red view, one of the scenarios, and then I tried at least one of the scenarios, not all of them. But I also tried 1400, came out recently.
Yeah, I've only played the basic one, and I played several scenarios in that, but I've not tried the other expansion versions. I'm excited to do so.
Noir was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll have to do so then.
You should, definitely. So my number 9, Chronicles of Crime. My number 8. Another game that has engine building in it and worker placements. I do like my worker placement as well. But engine building is an essential part of this game. That's Underwater Cities. That's my Terraforming Mars.
Are you sure you didn't mean Pulsar 2849?
Not at all. I hate that game. But look, this game. You showed it to me at first, and it was like, oh, it's really good. I need to get it into my collection or something like that. I remember something like that when you showed it to me on the cruise. We played it as a 2-player game, and I think it was the best way to play it at first, as a 2-player game. So I can learn it, so I can see the different intricacies of the game. But Underwater Cities, building your domes, underwater domes, building the tunnels and the whatever the greenery house, whatever they are, the laboratories around them, so they can give you the discs, so you can they can give you different productions and resources and stuff, so you can do more and more and more. But the cool part about the game is that you have your worker kind of a tile that you use to go to different worker spots, and you play a card along with that. Some cards are just one-time abilities, some cards are staying powers, like permanent powers, some cards are action cards that you can activate once if you go to certain spot on the central board, etc. So you're building your tableau of cards with the worker placement that's going on, and you sometimes you match the color, then you can activate the card if you won't match the color. So there's the cool decision. I really need to get to that spot. If I won't, you will go there, and then you block me, and then I will not do my turn. But I don't have any yellow cards. I need to go to the yellow spot. I don't have any yellow cards, so that means that I have to just discard the card without its benefit, and that's not cool. And then you're trying to see if maybe I will still go to the other spot then, and trying to get that same yellow spot through my cards instead, or something like that. You know, it makes you progress. It makes you make tough decisions.
Okay,
Tough decisions.
I really like this game. I had an opportunity to play it last week, but my friends were looking for a short game. They said, "How about Underwater Cities?" And I had to say, "Well, that game isn't going to be short." But it's,
you had to ask, what is short for you? I mean, like.
Well, short was 45 minutes, and that's definitely not this game. But
not 2 hours. Not 2 hours? Oh, I'm surprised.
But it's really good. I still haven't played with the expansion other than the boards, right? I've used the expansion boards, but I've not.
Oh, I haven't played the expansion as well. I need to. I really need to. Because the museum stuff, something like that, extra things. I don't know. I'll like it, I'm sure. All right, let's go to number 7. My number 7 is a game. I'm sure all of these games you're gonna predict what these are. Because I love those games, and you know what games I love. One of them is a game called Stockpile.
I've never heard of this game.
You never heard of this game? Not from me, at least.
Bumped the table.
Anyway, Stockpile is a stock market game that I thought I will not like. I told this story many times, but I won't tell it again. Yes, I was extremely surprised by this game. It didn't look exciting. Stock market? No. What? Never. And then I played it, and I was like, let's play it again. I want to get more money, you know, because it's so cool. The partial information, it's one of the best things in board games. You have partial information, that person has partial information, and then you're bidding on those grids of cards, or like the columns of cards that you put yourself down there. All the players put them down. Some of the cards are face up, some of the cards are face down, so you don't know. And I'm always bidding on the columns that have more face down cards, because I just do like a surprise. Sure. Even if it's paying more taxes. Yeah, what can go wrong? Well, it's so cool. I just love it. And I started recently losing a game too much. I don't know why. Maybe going too much for the blind card. So I don't know.
Make better choices.
I make more interesting choices, not better ones. Indeed. But yeah, the expansion, the first expansion, which adds the forecast dice. I mean, this should be in the base game. This should have been in the base game. I mean, like, never play without that. The dice are just essential. They are part of the game. Everything else, bonds, fine. I don't usually play with them. I play with the commodities. I play with those, and I also got the newest expansion that I haven't tried, which will kind of give you some special abilities that you can do on your turn. But you have your people as well, which are your special abilities, like the caricatures of the famous rich people, something like that. But this game, it just creates so much laugh all the time, and just works with everyone. Even taught it to a 9-year-old child who came with a father on a game night, one of the games I did outside of the house. And the father came there, and the boy was like, I want to play this game. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not sure. It's a bit, it's not on a very easy side. I wouldn't say, it's almost like a Wingspan type. Like, it's welcome next next step, sorry. So, but he got this game pretty fast, and he won the game as well. So,
well, there you go.
I realized that I shouldn't underestimate anybody, and this game I think is accessible. Stockpile.
I quite enjoy it, right? I mean, I've enjoyed it all along. In fact, it's one of those games I'm just always in the mood for. I've not played with the final expansion yet either. I've got it, but it's just not. I play with enough new people that I don't want to add that kind of randomness into it. I always play with the bonds and the dice. I don't always use the commodities. So.
Okay, yeah, whatever you want, it's.
And I always use the other side of the board and the special.
Oh yeah, the other side of the board. I mean, like you should just paint the classic side of the board with the black paint or whatever. Like just cover it up totally.
Well, it's not that bad, but I just would always use the other side of the board.
It's boring.
It doesn't hurt me that it's there.
Every company has the same price. It's just too boring. I mean, like this one has a price that varies. So some companies have more risks with it. So some companies have less risks, but they are slow on a build-up. So that's cool. All right, my number 6, and you should have predicted it will be in my top 10 because the more I play it, the more I love this game. I don't know why, or maybe I know why, because it's so smooth. It's one of the most elegant games I've ever played, Abyss.
Oh, I played that 2 days ago.
Nice. But this game it just growed on me with the expansions, disclaimer, with the expansions, and both of the expansions, because I love a little bit of that corruption going on with the Black Pearls. And then I like the Leviathan expansion is essential for me because it replaces the monster track, and the monster track is not interesting at all, but the Leviathans are interesting. They give you a little bit more to do, another strategy kind of a sort, and Abyss is a streamlined card game. You have a little bit push your luck. You go exploring, you turn over the cards, and everybody else will get a chance to buy it before you. And then you get some of those cards which are basically allies, which have the strength to buy lords, and the lords will give you special abilities, but also keys. And certain amount of keys will give you access to locations, will give you also even more points, most likely. So you're trying to build up to to the most points eventually, but all of these things integrate with each other in a cool way. The bidding is cool. I like the bidding with the pearls, the components, the art, the overall kind of a world that it's built in is cool. I like the Abyss world here.
It is. It's a great game.
And you need to play.
I like it without its expansions, right? I mean, I'll play it just by itself. I mean, I do think at least the first expansion, which I've tried, adds a lot. But I like it by itself too.
Yeah, the thing is that after I played with the expansions, I just don't see myself returning to the monster track. You can't go if you have Leviathan board, then you want to use the monster track anymore.
Someday I'll have to try that one.
Oh, it's essential. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go to my number 5. My number 5, another game that implements a ton of story in the game, and this game is constantly of let's pause, let's put some stickers on, let's take this card out, let's do this, let's do that. This game has a lot of that, pausing and bringing new elements in. Clank Legacy, Acquisitions Incorporated. Clank Legacy, and I do enjoy Clank quite much, but Clank Legacy has shown me that Clank can be extremely interesting. And once I'm finished with this game, I can just always play this game again and again, because once the board is finished, it's a usual Clank. And I can buy the expansions, which are the what are they called? I can't remember, but
the A team, the B team, or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah, the new set of characters, so you can have them, and they also have their unique decks or something like that, abilities and something like that. So I like that. So I'm not gonna buy them now to implement them in the game that I already have going on. I still haven't played because due to the lockdowns and things, I didn't have a chance to finish my campaign. But once I finish, I will buy those new characters. But this is a deck building game with adventure going on there, with the movement on the board. And when you buy new cards, it's not always you buy the card that will give you cool resource or a lot of points. You have to be careful. You have to buy cards which will give you movement. But you have to balance out. You have to balance your deck out. You have to be smart about that. Not always the points are best. Sometimes the cards that will make you grab the great treasure and run out. These are the cards that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And Legacy just makes it 10 times more fun.
Sure. I like all versions of Clank. I think I like base Clank slightly better than Legacy, just because the Legacy is a time commitment. And, if you've got a specific time in a specific group. But I had a great time with it, and the time I played through it, we just played through it again and again, like I usually do with Legacy games. I like base Clank best just because it has some expansions that you can just add and get some variations. I like Legacy second, and I think I like Space third, although I enjoy it.
Yeah, I would say this position here is kind of a placeholder for Clank. I would play Clank as well. It's basically the same. It's just once those Legacy moments are done, once Legacy stuff is done, then I'm playing the regular Clank. So I'm saying this is a Clank placeholder, but the one that elevated Clank for me for now was the Legacy element here. At this point, we'll see what happens in the future.
Sure.
All right, let's go to my number 4. And it's extremely predictable if you know my favorite games. My number 4 is a game I talked about already, or did I before? Or maybe I wanted to mention that. Anyway, my number 1 for a long time, but not in recent few years, that's Cyclades, or whatever it is. Anyway, Cyclades, Cyclades, or whatever, it's, first of all, disclaimer with the expansions, of course, but most of the reviewers, I think, they have said that Titans expansion makes it great. And it seems like either they haven't played the Hades expansion, maybe they skipped that one because that wasn't so popular, or maybe it was just skipped somehow, I don't know. Not many people talked about Hades, but when Titans came out, everybody's like, oh, Titans. I'm not sure I like Titans that much. I don't like the too much freedom with the movement and too much fight going on there. For that, I have Kemet, for example. I like the tension of danger, I like the tension where you might attack me, but you might not, because, for whatever, this is the Titans board expansion here, but yeah, it just shows all the components, it seems. This is the regular Cyclades. But I like the never going away tension that it creates while you're playing this game, with the bidding, with different gods, with monsters, with different cool creature cards. And the Hades expansion adds the demigods that spice up the game. It adds the priestesses, which will help you keep the monsters for longer, adds the heroes, which give you another way of building metropolises and maybe becoming even stronger in battles and things, etc. So it gives you so many different modules. The Titans expansion makes it more a fighting game on the same kind of island. Titans expansion also has these magical items, which is cool, which is nice. But there is also the mini expansion monuments. You can do whatever you want with this game. Just if you have all of the expansions, mix and match however you want, create your own ideal game.
And mix it with Kemet.
Yeah, there was. I saw the playtesting of kind of the prototype of a kind of a new version of the game of Cycle D's. There was on Facebook, I think. Bruno Catala said they are testing kind of the new edition. Will it come out at some point? It might not. Maybe somebody else will print it, not Midgard. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to that, and maybe a big box. So, if an amazing game. I fell in love with, I think, 8 years ago. Still going.
I like it too. I don't love it as much as you do. Nowhere near. But I've always had a good time with it, and I kind of like the Titans expansion. But that's okay.
Yeah. All right, let's go to my number 3. My number 3 is another worker placement game, and this is my kind of a go-to worker placement game because this one defines how the worker placement should be done. In my opinion, Empires: Age of Discovery.
I'm shocked this would be on your list.
Yeah,
I never talk about this game.
Never, never again, never. Okay. Anyway, this game is about worker placement and area control. The area control is cool. It doesn't bother me here at all. I like that, but it all revolves around the worker placement. You have your 5 basic workers, but you can get more workers, some specialists, etc. Missionary, captain, merchant, soldier, etc. And they do different things, and they feel different, and they create different strategy as well. That's why I like about this game the most. Is first of all, you're building yourself up. Your set collection of goods is your income, and then points at the end of the game. You are getting new buildings, which give you special build is extra workers, extra stuff to do. You become stronger and stronger and stronger as you go further. You're fighting for the territories, fighting basically, you're trying to get the most people in there. There is a probable war. I mean, like you can get the soldiers out and then try to shoot other players' pieces. So you will control the region, but it's not like it's not a war game there. It's more of an area control. But it's the whole game revolving around this worker placement is just amazing, because you put one worker at a time around the table, and you're like, I need to get that resource. So if I will not go there first and they grab that, I will be out of that. But I really need to get that building as well. Tough choices. Right. Love it.
Right. Yeah, it's a good game. It's been a while. I don't know. I think it could probably do with a graphical upgrade. Kind of looks a little dated, but I like the game a lot. I don't
they did.
buy a new version either. Well,
this is the deluxe version, yeah. Graphical update.
They
did.
upgraded it by keeping everything the same.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, this new board is ugly, but once I started playing that, this new board is functional. I think it should stay that way.
The board doesn't bother me as much as the buildings do. The buildings are all very ugly.
Oh yeah, they are. But what can you do? Anyway. My number 2. What can it be? Will you name it?
Is it Maracaibo?
No. But really, just name it.
Number 2, Summoner Wars. Oh, then I have no idea.
What could it be? It was my number 2 last time.
Oh.
It is the one and only Aliens, the board game, Nemesis.
Uh-huh. I've played this now. I remember last time we talked about it, I had not.
Yeah. But yeah, Nemesis is Aliens in the box. It's Aliens the movie. But the cool part about Nemesis that, as I said before, I like games that create stories. I like that, like in escape room games, in time stories, in Seventh Continent, and etc. But this game creates a great story of, I fought this alien here, and then I went there, explored that room, got the egg, changed the course of the ship, and you can play it as a full. It's hard for me to tell this. I remember there was particular stories how I fought the mother alien, the queen, with my bare fists, and I killed her. I killed her, and I died as well, because you don't fight the queen with.
Usually happens.
It usually happens, yeah. But I mean, like, it's all very thematic. I love the exploration in games, and this one has a ton of exploration. You explore those different rooms. You want to go out there, but you make a lot of noise, and you make aliens appear, and then you have to fight them, and they are a nuisance. And then you're trying to cooperate with each other. But you can play this is a semi-co-op game in its core, because everybody has. Now, this one does the semi-co-op in a right way that they wanted to have the winter to do. In this one, there's no traitor, to be honest. Like, everybody has its own agenda,
right.
And you want that, for example, the ship goes to Earth, and the other person wants to destroy the ship, so it will not reach the Earth. Like, both of these objectives are like, one person believes that if the ship goes to Earth, then the aliens will invade Earth or something like that, because we cannot get the ship to Earth, you know. But and they create a conflict between players, but you don't know that. So it's all hidden. It's like the secret objectives are in the winter, but there's no real traitor. You try to work together, because if you won't, the ship will be destroyed, everybody will lose, you will die, whatever, you know. And there's a co-op variant. I like to play it cooperatively, because in this, then you cheer for each other even if you're dead. And you can revive people. By the way, in a cooperative game, you can revive people.
Okay.
If you fight, I don't remember the room, the laboratory, like surgery room, something like that, and then you can bring their body in there, their corpse, and then they poof, and they are alive again.
Magic.
So, yeah.
All right. I've not played that. I've only played sort of the basic way, where you have your own objectives, but I liked it a lot too. I mean, it is very random. It can be very swingy the way things come out, but you know, it's more of a game where I think you go in expecting an experience rather than trying to work and hope that you'll win. So
yeah, it's I've been eaten many times, like a cereal for aliens.
Sure, but I mean, you can, like, you know, find yourself. You could pull out the queen alien on room one, you know, the first turn when everybody's in another part of the ship, and you're just.
But the swinginess. But those swings and this randomness creates those stories. I mean, like that would be cool to talk. Mm-hmm. So I pulled Queen in the first turn. I ran away from her, and then she killed that other person there. And then I went there with bare hands and killed her. You know, like boom. That's it. You know, just amazing game. Anyway, my number 2, Nemesis. My number 1, and I'm not going to talk much about that one, because we have
a comment predicting it, Summoner Wars, which would be a fine prediction. Were I doing my top 100 games,
but instead it is the one and only Scythe.
Yeah, there you go.
And look, I played Scythe for a while now, because I think I haven't played very much in the last year due to certain circumstances going on in the world.
If only you could play it solo.
Yeah, not keen on that. But after playing through the campaign with Rise of Fenris expansion, that's what made it my favorite game. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that, it gives me everything. I can upgrade myself. I can do the engine building. I can go and grab the resources on the board, you know, mine stuff. I can fight other people, but I don't have to, you know. It's also like with these Cyclades, it's a threat that's going on there. It's a threat of war, but it's not a war game. Mm-hmm. And it just the engine building the game as well. But it's beautiful. It has different elements going on. How you choose the actions on your player board, how you upgrade those actions, make them cheaper as well. Oh, wow! I mean, and the Rise of Fenris expansion makes the start of each game easier. That means that you get to the fun part much easier. Like at the beginning of the game, the base game is like everybody starts so slow, and it becomes fun on a turn 4 maybe, you know. But in this one, you can have those upgrades. The Rise of Fenris, you get those small tokens upgrades where you can do the action without the resources.
Without the resources.
Amazing. It just boom. I can do this on turn 1 if I want to, you know. So
Right.
yeah, love side.
Great. Well, I love it too. I recently played through the Fenris campaign a second time with my brother, which I enjoyed it again, right? I mean, I don't know that the story of the campaign is all that interesting, but that expansion, the various options that it adds are all very interesting.
Yeah, and you can play against the Mad Tesla as well, so why not?
That's my least favorite of the modules, but
Yeah. Oh, I like the new. I don't like the Fenris faction that much because it's too swingy and too aggressive, in my opinion. It ruins the game for me because
I think it
everything
ruined the
else.
game for my brother too.
Because it's all about the building up. It's every other faction is rather passive. Even the whatever the kind of like a German analog to Germany, whatever they are, the German faction.
Okay.
I don't remember what they are, the real nation in this site, but
Okay.
they look like German.
They look like Germans. Do you mean the black faction?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember their name, but
But
yeah, but yeah, I like the Vesna action
okay.
because it's totally customizable.
Yeah, I mean, I like. Well, I mean, the whole game is customizable if you add some of the modules in. But I quite enjoy the game. It's definitely one that I would not be surprised if it were in my top 10. And I've played it a lot more than a lot of other games.
Yeah.
So, and it's one that kind of gets better the more you play it.
Yeah, true.
And it's great solo.
Yeah. But all right, here we are. Back to away from the screen share, and that's my top. The upper half of top 100, and that's my top 100. We have concluded
Well,
that.
I'll have to do a top 100 at some point, but maybe not for a little while. Maybe in the fall. And great.
So tell me in the comments. Tell us in the comments what are your favorite games. You want to comment on some of my picks? Maybe you want to say they are so bad that
I'm just shocked that you hate Wingspan, but that's okay.
I hate Wingspan. Yeah, that's amazing. How much you're shocked about that, but I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We'll see where it will be in your top 100.
Okay.
We'll
see.
If it won't be number 2 at least.
Then I obviously hate it as well.
You hate it as well, yes.
All right.
Yeah. But
Very well.
thank you, folks. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you another
Absolutely.
time. Yeah, in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks, if my internet will not work in the new place, because I'm moving and I might not have my internet set up for that. But we'll see. I'll figure something out. Long before we have that day coming. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.